you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So when maybe you or somebody else creates an AGI system and you get to ask her one question, what would that question be?
What's outside the simulation?
The idea that we are living in a simulated reality may seem unconventional and irrational to many of us, but it is a belief shared by some of the brightest minds of our time. If you analyse the history of video games, there is a clear innovation curve in the quality of games.
Yeah, like say 40 years ago, you had video games. The most advanced video game would be like Pong, where you had like two rectangles and a dot, you know, like batting it back and forth. And that was like, wow, that was a pretty fun game at the time. But now you can see a video game that's photorealistic, almost photorealistic, and millions of people playing simultaneously. And you see where things are going with virtual reality and augmented reality. And if you extrapolate that out into the future with any rate of progress at all, like even 0.1% or something like that a year, then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. If it's so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and reality as we know. And then it seems like, well, how do we know that that didn't happen in the past? And that we're not in one of those games ourselves?
Okay, just tell me what you see.
Oh my god, come on.
What the fuck? Holy shit. I just saw something. Yeah. What the fuck?
Oh, I've seen that. I feel it.
I've been under the influence of mind-altering substances a lot, but I've never seen anything like that. Whoa.
When I first saw the phenomenon, I was like, holy shit! But then it was actually like, whoa, what is happening? Am I losing my mind?
But then I showed other people, and things kept getting weirder.
Jacobo Grinberg knew something that most people spend their entire lives unaware of. Not because it's hidden in ancient scrolls or locked away in secret institutions, but because it's buried beneath layers of societal programming. What if every thought you've had, every belief you hold, and every limit you accept isn't actually yours? Grinberg saw what others could not, a simulation so intricate that even the idea of questioning it feels unnatural. And yet, once seen, it can never be unseen. His work challenges the very foundation of what we consider reality, revealing that life is not a chain of events outside of you, but a projection that originates within. Born in Mexico and trained as a neuroscientist, Jacobo Grinberg spent his life exploring the borderlands between consciousness and perception. He wasn't interested in the surface-level chatter of the mind, but in the deeper architecture, the source code of reality. To him, the world wasn't a fixed stage but a mutable field, shaped by thought and belief. Consciousness was not a byproduct of brain chemistry, but the primary substance from which reality emerges. You're not observing the world, you're projecting it. The people you meet, the opportunities you attract, the obstacles you face, these are all reflections, shadows cast by the light of your inner world. There's an emotional weight to realizing this. The same beliefs that once felt like safety nets, ideas inherited from family, culture, media, suddenly appear as invisible walls. Grinberg offered a radical proposition. You are not trapped in the simulation because of fate or design. You are trapped because you've accepted someone else's version of reality. But escape is not only possible, it's inevitable for those who dare to look inward. And the path begins not with changing the world, but with changing your perception of it. Understanding the simulation begins with understanding how it sustains itself. It doesn't persist through force, but through agreement. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, or that's just how life is, you reaffirm the parameters of the code. Grinberg likened consciousness to a projector. Reality, in his model, is the screen. If the film reel is damaged, full of limiting beliefs, fears, and conditioned responses, then the movie of your life will play out accordingly. But change the reel, and the story changes. You may recall certain phrases from childhood. Money doesn't grow on trees, or people like us don't succeed. These aren't innocent remarks. They're lines of code, embedded early and deep. Grinberg's insight was that such phrases act as filters on your perception, distorting the raw potential of the world into narrow channels of expectation. It's not just that you believe these things, you live them. They become the architecture of your life experience. Each belief is a lens, and reality shows up to match its curvature. But here lies the power, hidden in plain sight. If beliefs create the structure, then dismantling the ones that no longer serve you alters the entire edifice. Meditation, Grinberg taught, isn't merely a method of stress relief. It's a surgical tool, one that allows the consciousness to return to its purest state. In silence, the programming begins to fade. The noise of the simulation dims. What remains is awareness, untainted, unfiltered, and immeasurably potent. Through stillness, you don't escape the world. You remember that you were never truly in it to begin with. The stillness becomes a doorway, and what lies beyond it is the revision of self. According to Grinberg, time isn't linear. It is malleable, subjective, fluid. What you call the past is not sealed. It's editable. Imagine standing before a canvas, one you've painted for years in strokes of regret, shame, or missed chances. Grinberg proposed that through focused intention, that canvas can be rewritten. Take, for example, a moment of failure, a job interview gone wrong, a relationship that ended in pain. Instead of reliving it with sorrow, revisit it with vision. See yourself walk into that room with confidence. Hear the laughter that follows your words. Feel the hand you never shook, but now do. Revision, in this sense, is not delusion. It is reprogramming. You are not changing facts. You are altering the energy that those memories carry in your field. And energy, as Greenberg would insist, is what shapes perception. The ancients whispered a similar truth. As Heraclitus wrote, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river and not the same man." Revisiting the past in consciousness does not violate its sanctity. Rather, it liberates it from stagnation. The river flows differently now, because you are different. Greenberg's technique of revision transforms the echoes of what was into symphonies of what can be. In doing so, the past ceases to haunt. It becomes the soil in which new futures grow. Living in the end is the next stage. Greenberg aligned here with mystical thinkers like Neville Goddard. You do not wish for the future to come. You live from the place where it has already arrived. When consciousness occupies the state of fulfillment, reality bends to accommodate that inner truth. Visualize a garden where only the seeds you water with belief take root. Wishing is not watering. Doubt is a drought. When you close your eyes and feel the life you desire is already present, you're not imagining, you are commanding. The simulation responds not to effort, but to certainty. Greenberg emphasized this over and over. Consciousness precedes structure. The field reshapes itself around belief like iron filings aligning to a magnetic current. Ancient mystics spoke often in riddles to conceal wisdom from the unready, but one quote echoes clearly here. "As you sow in your heart, so shall you reap in your world." To live in the end is to collapse the illusion of distance between you and your dreams. It's not about denying the present, it's about transforming it by inhabiting the frequency of a reality where the dream is already real. The field does not discriminate between fantasy and fact. It simply responds to coherence. Embodying the end sharpens the signal. You become a tuning fork, and life vibrates in harmony. Just as your future can be summoned and your past restructured, your perception of identity must evolve. Greenberg taught that the greatest trap of the simulation is identification. You believe you are a static character, playing a role assigned by culture, history, and genetics. Yet identity is not fixed. It's a script, and you hold the pen. The moment you stop acting from memory and start creating from intention, the simulation begins to fracture. Lucid dreaming offers a perfect metaphor. At first, you're lost in the dream, reacting to its logic. Then comes the spark. Awareness dawns. You realize this is a dream, and in that instant you gain control. Walls melt, skies open. The laws of the dream bend to your will. Waking life is no different, Greenberg argued. Lucidity is simply the realization that your thoughts are not responses to reality. They are the architects of it. Transformation, then, is not a process of becoming someone new, but of remembering who you truly are. Underneath the programming is an awareness untouched by circumstance. The sages called it Atman, the divine self, the dreamer of all dreams. Greenberg named it the field of consciousness. It is from this place that all creation flows, and once reconnected to it, you no longer ask for permission from the world, you direct it. Stepping into that role demands responsibility. You are no longer the victim of narrative, you are its author. The simulation does not disappear, but it becomes pliable. Experiences begin to shift. People enter and exit your life like actors responding to a new script. Coincidences become commonplace. Synchronicity no longer surprises, it affirms. Greenberg insisted that mastery comes not from understanding these laws intellectually, but from living them daily. To ground this awakening, establish practices that reinforce the truth of your power. Keep a journal, not as a record of what happened, but as a declaration of what is unfolding. Revise your day before sleep. Imagine it went perfectly. Let the energy of that imagined perfection bleed into the next morning. Meditate not to escape, but to recalibrate. In silence, remember that you are the source of the noise, not its victim. As the simulation loosens its grip, life becomes art. Every thought a brushstroke, every choice a stanza. The game does not end, it expands, and with it, so do you. Exit, as Greenberg taught, is not a door to walk through, it is a veil to lift. Once lifted, the world remains the same, yet nothing is the same. You haven't escaped reality, you've rewritten it from within.